It's time to breathe again on the latest Breath of Fresh Air webcast streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So, along with Patrick Brackett, you see me, Charles, and we're just going to jump right into it. As usual, Patrick, lots to cover. And we'll start with the NBA Finals, a review of the NBA Finals. So, we're going to talk about both of these teams, the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics, and where both of the teams will go from this point, or where do we think they can go from this point. So, start with the Warriors. They won the series 4-2, and they are on their victory parades. They had their parade in San Francisco Monday, and I guess they're calling it kind of the petty tour because they're just talking best to everybody who had something negative to say. Apparently, they kept all the receipts and they are wearing them in the form of t-shirts, Twitter posts, Instagram posts, and all the other footage that is out there. But look, enough of the pettiness. Actually, look, I don't mind it too much. You know, I'm not really the petty dude like that, but I don't mind it if they handle it the way they did. Because if you look at the Warriors, they really hadn't said too much about it. Okay, take it back. Draymond Green is loud as hell as usual, but
I was about
but
to say. Oh, I was about to say something, but
yeah, but the rest of the people, particularly Steph Curry, which of course we'll get to in a little bit, but the other guys, hey, they're just kind of keeping notes. They hear what's being said. They remembered all that, used it for fuel for fuel for their fire, and here they are at this point where that core of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green now have their fourth championship. And then you have the guys, first time winners like Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. Um, okay, well, got Kevon Looney been on there for I think about two or three of those championships. So they have a good mix. In other words, they have a good mix of youth and experience that is on the team, and they're keeping all the receipts, and they're letting people let them know, hey, we remember what you said, and here we go. So I'm cool with them handling it that way instead of the people who goes, I don't pay attention to anything that's being said. I don't care. And then when you get there, oh, I remember everything. Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on now.
I thought you.
Yeah, I were watching.
I thought you didn't care. I thought you didn't pay attention, and that's the majority of the people when they go through the navigating through social media and everything that is out there, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, with all the criticism or all the praise that's coming through. But be as it may, Patrick, the Warriors are here, fourth championship in 8 years. This one, as a lot of the players have said, this hits different. Seems to be the sweeter one because in 2015 they were kind of up and coming, and then bam, they're there. The other two they won. Kevin Durant came onto the squad, and it was kind of a cheat code. Not necessarily they needed them, but it was just a cheat code. And now Kevin Durant left, went to Brooklyn, and here they are rising up after a couple of years. What was it? 1920. They won 15 games because everybody was hurt. And so now here they are back at the promised land. And Patrick, they have everybody pretty much coming back. It's going to be tough to beat them, even in a loaded Western Conference.
Yeah, I agree. So first of all, we had this conversation last week. What was my text?
Well, you said congratulations, good pick, and all that other good
and
stuff.
What a hell of a pick. Good job. So we got to start there. Okay. That was a good pick, man. Good job. And you picking in 6? That's impressive.
I appreciate
it. So that's one. 2. We said this at the beginning of the season. This is my thing. A healthy Golden State Warriors team is a very dangerous team. We saw in 2020 where everybody was hurt. I mean, literally everybody was hurt, and they're struggling to put 5 people on the court. Hell, I even think in some of those games they only had a 6-man rotation during the regular season because everybody was hurt. So 4 championships out of 8 years, and they had all their people. I mean, we said this even, like I said, again before the season started. Golden State can be dangerous, especially if they have all the pieces in place, right? Boston, on the other hand, I think out of many people, I was riding high with Boston at the beginning of the season. Not as high as them going to the finals, but I had them a very high pick. I was like, I saw them doing good things. But at the end of the day, I don't know where all these people are getting off on these tweets that they were putting out. Like some of them that were saying Golden State is washed up. I think there was, I don't remember all of them, but this Golden State team is good. I think there was even tweets out there that says they can't even win they can't win unless they have Kevin Durant or something like that on the team. Look, even before Kevin Durant, this was a good team. Now, I think they were really smart this time. They didn't go for the quote unquote cheat code this time. When they picked up Andrew Wiggins, this was a defensive move. They really wanted him for defense, right? The fact that he's putting up 23 points and having about 6 or 7 steals, or 6 or 7, sorry, 3 or 4 steals in a game, blocks the way he was doing. This kid, he jumped into a great situation and learned basketball at a very high level, playing with some guys that are really good. Please, Andrew Wiggins, don't turn into a crybaby like Draymond Green. Now, I say crybaby because he cries about every play. The man can play ball, though. There's a reason why he's in the NBA. I'm not going to take that away from him. He can play ball. But I wish he'd just play. Because if he had just play, he'd be so much better. And we saw that in their first championship. He just played ball. But this is what Andrew Wiggins is doing. He's just playing ball. He's learning from everybody around him. He's just playing ball. And that solidified a team that is very dangerous. I am curious about Andre Iguodala coming back because I thought his contract was up. But he might have signed an extension. I don't know. I just knew that he was getting close to coming up on that.
Well, I think the Andre Iguodala thing. I think he's pretty much getting into that role that Udonis Haslem has with the Miami Heat. Like I think at this point he's the culture guy now.
Yeah,
he's the one who will he can hold people accountable. He also has the cachet of being there in that culture, winning in that culture. I can see him being that type of dude where he might play sparingly, but for the most part, he's going to be mentoring.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, honestly, that's where he needs to be. He is getting a little bit older. I don't think his knees can handle out, 60 games a season anymore. I don't even think a 21-year-old can handle 60 games in a season anymore. As the way they come in and like, oh, my leg hurts. I got a cramp.
Load management.
I know, right? They got to do load management. And here they are playing like 40 games out of an 82 season. I'm like, I do credit LeBron James on this, and I don't like this. I do credit LeBron James. These last 2 seasons, that man played every game. Now it's just age. I really do think it's age. I think he's just getting older, and he just can't handle it like he used to. But that man played every game.
He tried.
He tried.
He was dinged up. He was dinged up a little bit too.
Yeah, but you know what? He's still out there trying to play. These new kids coming out here playing 60 games, 50 games, 60 games, and claiming that a little bit more load management because, man, I'm playing so much. How much do I pay you?
I do miss the days where playing 82 games in the regular season was like a badge of honor for sure. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And people being mad. I mean, literally throwing things because they had to come off the court because of their injury. Now, when they come off an injury, they're like, I get paid the same. Irritates me. But back on the Golden State, congratulations to that team. They are a hell of a team, and they played good. And You can't take anything away from that. And hey, wear them shirts, wear them, because people need to know those comments were uncalled for a championship team of that caliber.
Yeah, and Patrick, I think also with the Warriors, so, you know how everybody wants to forecast real quick after this season ends. Let's go to Vegas. Let's look at the odds. Let's see where these teams stand. Well, the Warriors are the favorite, and when I'm looking at what the Warriors are coming back with, I even with the West really stacking up. So you could go through the teams. We'll see what Phoenix looks like if they're able to bring DeAndre Ayton back, but you expect them to be at least regular season good. Uh, Denver,
Those teams.
yeah, right. Denver, we'll see if they're able to get Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back, healthy to help the two-time league MVP and Nikola Jokic. See how they look. Uh, we'll see if Dallas and Memphis continue to ascend. What do they put around Luka Doncic and Ja Morant, respectively? The Clippers.
And watch
Getting
out
Kawhi
for
Leonard and
Atlanta's
Paul
doing.
George back healthy. We'll see what they are able to do. And I don't expect nothing from them. But if the Lakers can get a healthy Anthony Davis to play with LeBron and Russell Westbrook, they might be top 5, maybe. So the
Hey,
leader.
and but I do got to say this. I feel there's going to be a blockbuster trade. I do. This is a blockbuster trade year, and I think Atlanta's going to be a part of that. They see it. They're right there, dude. They're right there. They need something that pushes them over the edge, and I think they're going to go and try to find it this year. So
Yeah, we'll get on the Eastern Conference here in a little bit, talking about when we get a little bit more on the Celtics. But with the Warriors, man, hey, I think it's going to be difficult to beat them. The key to me though is what are you going to get out of Klay Thompson? So I put it on Klay Thompson because I think you know what you're going to get from Steph Curry. I think at this point, Steph is kind of he knows what's what. He's going to keep himself in pretty good shape, and if he's able to stay healthy, he's going to be pretty solid, as we know. Draymond Green, there were times where he looked washed. We're going to go ahead and say it. He looked washed, but he responded and he got the defense going for them. He was kind of the anchor of the defense, and he was able to be that point forward he's been known to be for that team. But that could be kind of uneven. The reason why I say Klay Thompson is key here is because this is now he's going to have an off season where he can just train, where he can concentrate on basketball. He missed 2 years. We all know the story. He missed 2 years, tore his ACL, then tore his Achilles. So, and then when he was going through the season, it was and then into the playoffs, kind of inconsistent play. He could hit 30 points in a game, and then the next game he might go 5 of 20 shooting, so just kind of uneven. I look for him to get into the gym because he's going to have the time just to now concentrate on basketball. I expect him to be closer to the guy he was before the injuries. And if you get that Klay Thompson anywhere close to that, that makes the Warriors that much dangerous, man. That's gonna make them
and
really.
then the Splash Brothers come back.
Yeah.
Ooh, not the brothers being carried by Curry.
Right.
You actually have a Klay Thompson that comes in and will drop 25 plus on you a night, not 10 here or 40 here. I mean, this is a constant 25, 30 points a night. I would like to see him come back. I remember that one game. He had 40 points on 4 dribbles.
Yeah.
You remember that night?
Yeah.
I was like, man, how does a man dribble 4 times and have 40 points? You don't have to have ball control. All you have to do is shoot.
Exactly.
And I
And
agree with you. If he
that's
gets
what
in
makes him so much dangerous, Patrick. Just the fact that Curry and Thompson can play without the ball and be just as effective if they were to have the ball in their hands.
Andrew Wiggins, who is learning to do the same thing. You got, and like you said with Green, He sometimes looked a little washed, but he always responded. Expect from him, right? I do feel he's getting a little older. He is still going to play a role in that offense. I think that he's going to probably be more of a little bit more of a defensive role because you do have the three that can score now, and now you got Poole who can score and play defense. I mean, it's a very dangerous team, and if you put Klay Thompson out there and you can actually have your Splash Brothers back, I don't care how deep the Western Conference gets, man. That's going to be a hard team to beat.
And Patrick, real quick, before we talk a little bit about the Celtics, here's a note on Steph Curry. So with Steph, as we know, 4-time champion now. This is his first NBA Finals MVP that he's won. Yep. And he's a 2-time league MVP.
Deserves
so everybody,
two.
Of course, huh?
He deserves 2.
Yeah, I agree. And so he now, you hear all the legacy talk. Where does he stand? And people have said he's the best point guard of all time. I'm not putting him over Magic Johnson yet.
Me
either. I'm not doing that. No. Magic Johnson, man, people forget how good Magic Johnson was. This was a 5-time champion, 3-time league MVP, 3-time NBA Finals MVP, and this was the first point guard of his kind that was playing at 6'8". Magic Johnson was a transitional player, so I'm not putting Curry over him, not yet. We'll see if he's able to get a couple more rings, which they, like we just said, they have a legitimate shot if they're able to keep everybody together. But no, I'm not putting them over Magic Johnson yet. But I will say this, and this is the part that you'll like. With him winning 4 rings, that ties him with LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
With him being tied with LeBron James and looking at the state of the teams that they are on, you think the Warriors, we both agree, and I don't think that's any breaking news here, the Warriors are in a better position than the Lakers are right now. And also, Steph Curry is a few years younger than LeBron. If Steph Curry is able to win a 5th ring, that makes him the dominant figure in an era that was supposedly being dominated by LeBron. You can't say that. And if people are going to throw LeBron up there with Jordan and some of the other all-time greats, which the stats will bear. Yeah, he's going to go down with the stats. He's going to go down as a top 3 or 4 player of all time, as stats wise. But he wouldn't even be the dominant player in his era if Steph Curry is able to get it. Can't say that about Mike. We know Michael Jordan, without a shadow of a doubt, dominated his era. So,
yeah. But even then, they still didn't pull the games. That was to change the algorithm for him. They did it.
Right, exactly.
I mean, people still forget that little tidbit. To me, I look. I'm not going to deny what LeBron James has done for the game, good and bad. You know what I mean? I'm not going to deny that. He will go down as one of the greatest players in basketball. I get that. Will I put him on my Rushmore of basketball? No. And it's not because I don't like him. There's so many other players I would put out there before him that were just greats of all time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if he wins another ring, you have to start thinking, well, do we still put this comparison of LeBron James to Michael Jordan, or do we kind of squash that because Michael Jordan was the greatest of his era, and LeBron James now is not the greatest of even his era anymore? So do you even have that conversation anymore? My personal opinion, shouldn't be having a conversation anyway, but no, I don't.
Yeah, and I think so me personally, I still have LeBron a little bit over Curry, but Curry is gaining. And if Curry is able to get this 5th ring, which we all said the Warriors have a good chance of winning again,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it gets very, very interesting with that conversation now.
Yeah.
Very
And
interesting. So,
but then the next question is if he wins a sixth ring, where does that conversation go now?
well, if he
You know
gets a
what I
sixth
mean?
ring, well, if Curry's able to get a sixth ring, then he's top five.
Definitely.
I would put him in the top five.
But you
Um,
have to start having that conversation about Curry and Jordan.
yeah,
Again, I wouldn't have that conversation. They're two different eras. They're two different types of players. But if you're gonna have it with LeBron, I mean LeBron's not
yeah,
even the best player of his era if Curry does this. I'm just saying.
right.
And like you said, it's just these conversations now they start changing the perspectives. I mean, like anybody come up to me and go, "Man, how about that LeBron James and Jordan?" I'd be like, "How about no?" And let's think about Curry because if he wins next year or the year after, and like you said, he is younger than LeBron, he's in a much better situation. And if LeBron was smart, you know, you got to look at Curry and go, man, some of the greatest people of all times stayed with their team. You know, I mean, the statistics show Jordan played with the Bulls for more than 10 years. He played with the Bulls. You know, Curry, look at what Curry's doing. You know what I'm saying? All these great players that have multiple rings, they played with the same team. Kobe Bryant, same team. Michael Jordan, same team. Steph
Tim
Curry,
Duncan.
same team. I mean, and who?
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan, same team. Um, the Boston Celtics when they had
Larry
uh,
Bird, same
Larry
team.
Bird.
Back in the day with Bill Russell, same team.
Yep,
Yeah.
same team. How about the God? I can't think of their name. Give me a minute. Ray Allen.
Well,
Was
Ray
it
Allen went to three teams.
Ray Allen goes with three teams? I take that one back. Who was it? Paul Pierce. That's who I'm
Yeah,
thinking of.
Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce
Paul
was with
Pierce.
the Celtics, and then he had that stretch at the end where he was with the Nets, and then he was with the Wizards, and then he was with the
Yeah,
Clippers.
but he didn't
So
mount
he did, but
anything.
but
His
we do know him as a Celtic. Yes.
yeah, I always know him as a Celtic. Always. So Kevin Garnett, same thing. You know, he won his rings with the Celtics, and that's where you have to be. You have to pick a team and put it in place and run with it. It's I mean, sometimes it is about the money, but a lot of times it's man, go and get your rings, man. Go and get your rings. Build a legacy. I mean, it works in all sports. Look at football with Tom Brady. I mean, I guess minus Tom Brady. Tom Brady just wins with every team. It doesn't matter.
Well, Patrick, hey, speaking of the Celtics, man, so let's talk about them for a little bit. And so here they are, they going through the heartbreak of losing in the NBA
Mm-hmm.
Finals. And when you look at their team, they have a good young nucleus. Now, I think it is fair to say, just like so what you said earlier, you was high on the Celtics team. I do think it's fair to say they're probably a little bit early, but at the same time, that core, as we discussed with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Marcus Smart, they've been together for a few years, been to a few Eastern Conference Finals, and they finally broke through and got to the NBA Finals this year. So for me, what the Celtics need, they need depth,
Yeah.
depth, depth, and depth, because they were running seven guys out there. I don't really count Peyton Pritchard because he really wasn't playing a whole bunch of minutes for the eighth guy, but they were primarily using seven players. And excuse me, when you go against a team like the Warriors, that's not going to cut it because the Warriors are deep. They can come at you in so many different ways, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to have that depth to withstand that. And the Celtics played two 7-game series on the way there. Of course, they played the Milwaukee Bucks in the conference semifinal 7 games. Then they played the Miami Heat 7 games. And when you're running that short rotation, I just think all that combined just kind of caught up with them. Now, of course, credit to the Warriors, but I just think the Celtics just kind of wore down. So they got to address that depth and maybe look for a point guard. I think Marcus Smart is good. He's gonna have to develop more in terms of finding mismatches. Like there were
Yeah.
some times in that series, Patrick. I know you know this. There were times in that series where Al Horford was in the post with Steph Curry on him. If
And he
you're
never
Marcus
passed it.
Smart, yeah, if you're Marcus Smart, you gotta throw the
You
ball down
gotta see that. You
there.
gotta see
Yeah,
that. I threw the remote many times going, you gotta see that, because I was like, y'all are my picks and you screwing my pick up, man. Come on.
you
I'm throwing
gotta
the
throw the
remote.
ball
I don't
there.
have a dog in the fight and I'm still throwing the remote. I was like, come on, you gotta see that. Jesus, I saw that.
You gotta throw the ball. You cannot miss that matchup. And a point guard, a good solid point guard, would see that.
Oh, would have saw that before they even got the ball. They were like, oh, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yes.
Stop that crap quick before that blows away, because everybody's gonna see that.
But I think Boston has a good team. Ime Udoka, first year head coach, did great as a
Oh
first
yeah,
year head coach.
definitely.
And this core is, I mean, they're good. You get Tatum, 24 years old. We'll talk a little bit more about Tatum in a little bit. Tatum's 24, Jaylen Brown's 25. I think Smart is around 28, 29. So you're a little bit older, but still kind of in that core, still kind of young there. And then Robert Williams coming out. Like this
22.
dude is coming with the way he
22.
can block shots and change games on defense. He's coming. You got Derek White, got Grant Williams. They have stuff to build around, but they have to get that depth situated.
They have to get that depth situated, but I really think that the depth would come when you have a point guard that can handle the load. Like you said, Marcus Smart, even though Marcus Smart is a good player, the thing is about Marcus Smart in the past games is when I watch him play, he's good at developing mismatches. He's not good at recognizing mismatches. That's the one thing that I noticed about him. Now, can he improve that? Absolutely. But as a head coach, I'm saying, hey, go get me a point guard and go get me a big man. Those things right there create some depth, and they address immediate needs really quickly. Because you could throw Al Horford out there, but Al Horford is not gonna. Al Horford can't give you 42 minutes. You know what I mean?
yeah, not at the advanced age.
Not at the advanced age. He can't give you. He's good for about 28 to 30, but we need somebody that's and Williams is coming up. I get that, but we need somebody that can get him, that can work with him and what so that he can watch him play. But man, yeah, I agree with you. I think the depth starts with getting a point guard, because once you get a point guard, now you can run Marcus as a shooting guard up to a point guard, and then you can probably run Tatum or we'll say Jaylen at the 3 and Tatum at the 4. And now you got a totally different game now, because now you got a power forward that can shoot, which is insane. That's what Golden State is running with. I mean, they're running all these shooters. I mean, now you got the 1 that can shoot, you got the 2 that can shoot, you got the 3 that can shoot, which is all great. But now you got a 4 that can shoot, and a 5, maybe possibly. Hey, I like where Boston's at. I don't think they need to make too many changes. Like I said, go get me a point guard and let it practice and see where we stand. If we need to get a big man, go get a big man. And I think that handles your depth, and it handles your immediate need for somebody that can vision these mismatches. Because, like you said, Al Horford on Steph Curry, he's got to have the ball. Period. There is no doubt about it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm like the most genius person at basketball, but I will tell you this. If I see it, Marcus Smart better damn well see it. You know what I'm saying? We're paying you, they are paying you millions of dollars to see that, and they're paying me nothing, and I saw it before you did. That's a problem. You know what I mean? Now, with that being said, I'm not taking away anything from Marcus Smart. He played his ass off in that series. And all 3 of those series, fantastic player. But I'd much rather see him at the 2 than at the 1.
Yeah, and the Celtics, just kind of looking at where we are. So we're gonna look at the Eastern Conference. You mentioned the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe they make a move to get somebody to join Trey Young there. Milwaukee's gonna be strong.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but other than that, there's questions. There's some huge question marks. And then like I just so we can look at the Western Conference and say, all right, if these guys get healthy, then their team's going to be formidable, even though we still like the Warriors' chances. In the
Mm-hmm.
East, there's some question marks. I mean, huge question marks. Brooklyn Nets, huge question mark.
Is that
Philly
really though a question
76.
mark though? I mean, like, really?
No, I say they're a question mark because we don't even know how they're going to look. For me, I don't think Brooklyn's good at all. So if you're going to ask
Okay,
me,
I just wanted to make sure me and you were on the same page because there's no question mark. That's an exclamation.
no, I think Brooklyn's severely overrated.
I
Um,
agree.
but they don't even know what's going to happen with their contract situations with Kyrie and some of the other guys. We don't know if Ben Simmons, we don't know where he's even at to even play again. And then for Philly, okay, you got Joel Embiid there, but
And
they're, yeah, I mean,
he's asking to be traded.
I don't. I mean, Joel's all right. I think he's gonna be there in Philly, and Philly wants to keep him. But what are you gonna build around him? And if James Harden's your answer, then good luck with that too. And so,
No, he's gonna. Or he's gonna ask to be traded. I don't want to play with old beard down there. Shave that crap off and become a real player, bro.
well,
And
no,
that's me.
hey, he can have the beard, but he just has to stay out the strip clubs. And look, if they're gonna have the strip clubs, if the strip club in Houston done retired his number, you're there too much. You're
Oh
there
yeah.
way too much. so, that's a mess in Philly. And then you look at some of the other teams; they're not quite there yet. Cleveland has some young talent; they're not quite there yet, though. And then Charlotte with LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, they're trying to build, not quite there yet though. And then Washington, they might, okay, so that'll be interesting to see where Bradley Beal goes if he doesn't stay in Washington. Yeah, Bradley Beal can be a piece of a potential championship team if he can get there, because he's a guy, he doesn't really need the ball in his hands a lot. Okay, he kind of has that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson game, not at that
Mhm.
level, but he kind of has that game.
But he does have something. I've been telling people I hope Atlanta go for him.
Yeah, I would if he comes there with Trey Young, that would be real. That would be
Woo.
a nasty backcourt.
And
Nasty.
I would probably look at trying to get somebody else other than Capella to be
Hmm.
there. No offense to Capella, I just don't think he fits the offensive scheme the way that Atlanta is heading in the direction where they're heading. You know what I mean? Um, Especially with Trey Young and the way he's playing, they're really not shooting for. Um, I just don't think Capella is like offensive ready for what Atlanta is trying to do. I wouldn't mind seeing Al Horford back in Atlanta.
Yeah, and they could make a move there like that. I guess it just
I
depends.
don't think he'll go because he
I
does love Boston.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think he's pretty good with Boston. Oh, and I can't forget about the Heat. The Heat still got the culture there. We'll see what they come out with. I know I've heard Tyler Hero in some trade discussions. I don't know if they're going to trade him, but
Atlanta.
Miami will still be solid. Yeah, but Miami will still be solid too. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think Boston's main threat is probably Milwaukee because they have Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton coming back. But Milwaukee's going to be tough
They're gonna be
still.
tough.
So
And depending on how those trade and how any of this stuff goes in the off season, I mean, it could go either way. What I will say is this: I do feel, in a lot of senses, that you're going to see an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference very similar coming up the next year.
and,
These top 8 teams are going to be hard to beat in both conferences.
and Patrick, so before we move on, I wanted to get your thoughts real quick on Jason Tatum because personally look, Jason Tatum is catching a lot of slander, a lot of blowback. People said he disappeared. People said he did this, he didn't play. Look, to me, if Jason Tatum is guilty of anything, he was probably not aggressive enough. Now, Andrew Wiggins was a beast on defense on him. Like, he played great
Yeah.
defense on Tatum. But I think between Tatum being in the finals for the first time and then trying to sort through what the Warriors were throwing at him, I think he did what he could to be unselfish. Remember, this guy is 24 years old. When could you say that about a 24-year-old being unselfish?
Into that role.
Yeah, being unselfish, trying to be the playmaker. Remember the game one? Game one, he was 3 of 17 shooting, something like that, but he had 13 assists. And so, look, to me, Tatum was fine. Was he a little inconsistent? Yes. Could he have been more aggressive looking for a shot? Absolutely, he could have. Yes. But I'm not going to crush Jason Tatum for this performance. I'm sorry. That these other people are like, oh, well, we thought he was a superstar. Well, I guess he's not ready yet. Oh, well, 2 weeks ago, you were kissing his ass. Now, all of a sudden, he ain't ready. Give me a break.
And now, all of a sudden, he ain't a superstar?
Right. Give me a break with all that. So, to me, it's ridiculous. And again, he's 24 years old, and I still take him over any of the other young stars that are out there. To take your pick, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Devin Booker, even Trae Young. I take him over all those guys because he can affect the game more ways than what all those other dudes can, which is basically have the ball in the hand and be a shooter offensively.
Yeah. So this is what I noticed about Jason Tatum. 24 years old, like you said, very young, very inexperienced in the position that he's in. They're looking at this guy to be the face of the team, the organization, at a young age like this. Now, I know that, everybody will be like, well, Michael Jordan was young when he took his. I get it. Trae Young was young when he took his. I get it. I do. Michael Jordan played in a different era, 1. 2, Jason Tatum, you have to understand that during Michael Jordan's era, there was a lot of people, but you could pick the superstar on every team, right? There's multiple superstars on every team at this level right now. I mean, yes, Michael Jordan has Scottie Pippen, but let me tell you, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is a far dangerous, within reason, is a far dangerous tandem than Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan in this era. You know what I'm saying? Because not only do they have them two, but they also have Marcus Smart and they also have Al Horford. I mean, there's multiple superstars that take on these roles in every single team. So you can't put a lot of blowback on Jason Tatum because, did Jaylen Brown handle his part? Did Marcus Smart handle his part? Did Al Horford handle his part? And there's a lot of moving parts, and this game is played a lot faster than it used to be. So you got something to say? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I do think if the Celtics won, Jaylen Brown would have been the finals MVP. I do think
Absolutely, because he was a beast. He showed up. But, Jaylen Brown, he's played in those young championships too. So he has a little bit of experience with a championship. Nothing like the finals, obviously, but he has played in those positions before. I don't know about Tatum. Either way the case may be, they're not looking at Jaylen Brown to be the face of the organization. They're looking at Jason Tatum to be the face of the organization. So not only is he having the pressure of going against Andrew Wiggins, who is playing outside his mind right now, he is playing on such another level. And let's be honest, they put Curry on Tatum, couldn't handle him. They put Draymond Green on Tatum, couldn't handle him. They put Klay Thompson on Tatum, couldn't handle him. They put Andre Iguodala on Tatum, couldn't handle him. They finally put Wiggins on him, and he kind of shut him down. So they went through 5 players before they found Wiggins was actually putting him down. And the reason why they put Wiggins on there is because they were like, well, we can't stop Jaylen, but we can't stop Tatum, so let's just try to stop one of them. So they pulled Andrew Wiggins off of Brown, and they put him on Tatum, and it kind of shut him down. doesn't change the fact that, look, I agree with you. He probably could have been a little bit more aggressive. He never attacked Wiggins' top foot at all. He did try to shoot the 3-pointers and even step back for a longer range 3-pointer more often than he should have. So I agree. He probably should have been a little bit more aggressive. But no, I'm not taking anything and saying anything that anybody is what they're talking about Tatum. I'm not saying that about him at all. I will tell you this: he'll take this experience that he has, and he will move forward. And don't be surprised if the man puts a ring on his finger in the next 3 years. That's all. Surprised. I'm not saying he's going to, but don't be surprised if he does.
All right, Patrick. Well, let's move on, man. So I don't think we need to spend a whole bunch of time on this, but so we're
Every
watching.
time I look at this dang baseball game, I keep going, whoa, how many more runs are they going to score? Arkansas is up 8-0 on Auburn right now. Third inning. Oh, sorry. Top of the fourth.
Yeah, they've been. Yeah, I think they were mad because they got whooped by Ole Miss the other day. But I don't think we have to spend too much time on this. It's just kind of a mention. We've been talking about the Deshaun Watson thing, and now he has apparently settled on 20 of these lawsuits. Now there's 24, I guess, with a potential for 26 that are out there. So he settled on 20 of them. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like this is something that probably should have been happening a long time ago. When you have that many women coming out there with these lawsuits, but for me, I'm just kind of looking to see what the NFL is going to do. How much are they going to suspend this thing for? And the money is just ridiculous, man. I don't know.
Sorry, so many jokes came to mind.
Yeah.
How do you have 26 lawsuits against 26 different women? He must be better on the field than he is in bed.
Yeah, I mean,
I shouldn't have said that. But it was funny. I was thinking it in my head.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into the bed with them, really, I mean, apparently they all happen. They all happen in random spots, so we don't even know. But yeah, it just messy situation. We already know how messy it is, but that's significant for 20 of them to be settled. Now, we don't know when they were actually settled. This was just an announcement that it came from the attorney representing all those all the accusers, Tony Busby. And so then you still have the 4, and then we'll see what else comes out. But it's crazy because he's going to come out like he was talking about last week. Deshaun Watson was how he's trying to clear his name. If you're settling the suits, ain't that really just admitting guilt?
It's sweeping it under the rug. I mean, it's not really clearing your name, but it's not really putting you in a position where you're guilty. You're not really guilty. You're not really innocent. You're just settling. I mean, if you're out to clear your name, then these women aren't getting money.
Yeah, fight it out.
You fight it out, and that's what it is. And who knows? Maybe he's just trying to settle just to put it up underneath sweep it up under the rug and let it be. You know what I mean? Which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it is what it is. I personally would tell you he probably needs to fight it out, especially if he's going to clear his name. But if he's not, and he's just going to sweep it under the rug, to me sounds like he's just trying to get ready to play.
Yep.
And that's just what it sounds like to me. I mean, you're not trying to clear your name when you settle. You're just trying to play.
Yeah, you're trying to move on and do what you have to move on from it.
And then again, maybe sometimes you just got to. Sometimes it is just that. Maybe these girls are like, no, we're not. We're going to fight this out. We're going to fight it out until we get what we want. And he's like, okay, well, fine. I'm tired of dealing with this. Let's just settle. So we can just put it behind us. So I can move on with my life. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah, cut your losses. Yeah,
Cut your
gotcha.
losses and you roll. You know what I mean?
Ugh, so you don't. Well, you know, it's the story that keeps on coming. So
Yeah,
we'll,
it keeps
we'll
on giving. A
yeah,
lot.
yeah. So we'll continue to follow it, man. It was just a mention. Another story that has been a little high is this live golf. So now Brooks Koepka says he's joining live golf. Now, this is funny to me. The reason why it's funny to me is because last week, when all the golfers were there in the Boston area for the US Open, they were asking Kafka about live golf, live golf, whatever. And and he's over here like, y'all, the media, he wanted to blame the media. He wanted to blame the media for everything. Like you just keep on asking about this tournament that happened last week, man. Nobody's worried about live golf. Worried about the US Open. Fast forward to today, and Brooks Koepka is going to live golf. This is what I don't understand, Patrick. Why is it when people are either on the verge of doing something that could be perceived as garbage, or they are doing something garbage that could be perceived as garbage, why are they so quick to blame the media for asking them this? Like they get caught in stuff. It's y'all fault. Y'all talk about this too much. Well, stop doing stupid stuff.
Stop doing stupid stuff.
Stop
So
doing
talk about it.
look, if you're Kevin Durant and you're gonna go get burner accounts to go back at your haters, why are you getting mad at the media for that?
Yeah,
The media did not
it's really
tell you
simple.
to go get burner accounts.
Charles, it's really simple. Look, every professional athlete, look at me when I say this, right into the camera. If you do stupid stuff here at Breath of Fresh Air, we're going to talk about it. If you don't, guess what? We won't. It's just that simple, you know?
I just don't understand. I don't
You
understand.
know the one thing that really got me curious. This is what really has me curious because I got to thinking about this. And how are these master tournaments going to be determined? Because a lot of that has to do with rankings. And the only rankings that can come out is in the PGA.
So Greg Norman, who I guess is the organizer or whatever job title he has for live golf, said they are going to apply for those points. Now, whether they get it or not, we'll see. We don't know what is going to happen with that, but they did say they were going to apply for those points. That's a
Mm-hmm.
very good question because that was something that I was wondering too. So, are these points if they play in live golf? Are they going to be able to accumulate points?
As of right now, they can't.
No, they
And the
can't.
only way I see that they're going to be, because they're already talking like how people are dropping out of the top 50. And that's a huge thing when it comes to these Masters tournaments.
Yep.
Who's in the top 50 and how are we gonna play them? Well, if these players are falling out because they're going into I'm gonna call it the LIV. I don't know. Maybe it's an acronym. I don't know. I'm gonna call it the LIV tour. The LIV tour. If everybody's going to this, then how because I mean they're gonna have to apply for those, and if they get them, hey, that will help. But if they don't, these players are going to get started. I mean, don't get me wrong; they're getting twice as much money for these tournaments that they're playing with in the LIV tour than they are in the PGA. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to work. So I'm going to be watching that because I've been looking at it and seeing how they're going to do it, but I didn't see anything that says that these guys are going to stay in the top 50.
Yeah, because if they're going over, I don't know how many tournaments are in the LIV tour.
Well, they're saying
Maybe
9. They're saying 9 right now.
9. All right, so it's not year round as of yet. But the amount of money they are throwing at these players is
Insane.
astronomical. And if Brooks Koepka, he won't be the last. I mean, if that type of money is coming out for these golfers for them to play in that tour, Brooks Koepka won't be the last. There's going to be more that's going to come over. There's going to be more that's going to say, hey, I want to take this payday. And then when it comes to majors, which you were talking about with the Masters, the main reason why they were able to play in the U.S. Open is because the U.S. Open isn't exactly a PGA Tour sponsored event.
Right.
It's the U.S. Golf Association that sponsors that one. So with the British Open, yeah, and so or I guess they call it the Open Championship, but it's formally called the British Open. It's still over there in Britain. How's that going to work? That's next month.
And what does the Ryder Cup look like? Because now they can't play in that. What is Augusta going to look like? I mean, there's a lot of questions that are just going to start coming out. And I don't know, maybe they're asking these questions already, or I don't know, maybe we're the first ones to start asking. I don't know. What I'm saying is this: if you are, because there's only a few people like Phil Mickelson, he can go to the LIV, but he'd still be able to play in Augusta because he's a prior champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got an extension.
So how does that work? I mean, I can see if you get that, if you have that prior championship, then you get that extension, that invite.
I believe Koepka won the Masters too. I believe so. I have to check that.
You know what? I'll check it right now.
Yeah, I think he has a Masters championship as well.
You go ahead and talk about something else, man. I'll listen, but
it's all good. Because I was actually looking at it too. He does not. He has U.S. Open. Yeah, so he has like two U.S. Opens. Yep, 2 U.S. Opens and 2 PGA championships is what he has.
Yep.
He finished second. That's what it was. He finished second to Tiger Woods in 2019.
That takes him out of that.
Yep.
That's very interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, they're making twice as much money on the LIV tour than they are on the PGA. I get it.
Right.
But I mean, again, it's going to boil down to, there's going to be something that's coming out like, hey, I'm ranked 95th in the world, and I know I'm better than 70 of these people.
So
should have stayed in the PGA, I guess. I don't know.
So Patrick, hey, we got a couple more topics to cover. So let's look at this Stanley Cup and this series here. 2-1, Colorado Avalanche are up on the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it was funny. You know how everybody wants to overreact to what was seen in one game. Now the Avalanche destroyed the Lightning in game 2, 7-0. They beat them in game 2.
Mm-hmm.
But in the big picture, they took care of home ice.
That's all I saw.
2-0 lead. The first game went to overtime. So it's not and Colorado won in overtime. So now you come down to Tampa. Hey, they won 6-2. Oh, go figure. It's a series. I never knew. So
that's the reason why we picked 6.
Yeah. Yeah. Go figure. It's a series.
Blows my mind.
I don't know. I just never understood why people overreact on one game when it is a series. You know something else that a saying that I have heard that just baffles my mind, that gets on my nerves when someone says, especially in basketball, oh, well, it's not a series until the road team wins. What? No, it's a series when the ball is tipped up in game 1 of the series. That's when it's a series.
Because believe it or not, you have to win 4.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
I never understood it. Never understood how people just make up these crazy sayings and overreact after one game. It's crazy to me.
Especially when you look at it, it says, and it's in the title, it says Western Conference Series. You know what I'm saying? Or NL Division Series. But it's not a series until the road team went.
What?
No,
yeah.
it literally says it right there. National League World Series. Actually, not National League. This is World Series.
This is a National League Championship Series,
National
World
League
Series.
Champion Series, AL
Yeah.
Champion Series. I mean, it's literally in the name. I don't understand that. But it's not a series. But
So.
it is, right?
So what you have, Patrick, is you have the champion, which we talked about last week. You have the championship medal that's being tested again for Tampa Bay, and they're not going to go away. Colorado they might be one of the fastest skating teams that I have seen in the last.
And the blue liners are just as fast.
Yeah,
Did you see them
maybe in the last 20 years. I'm going that far. Like that, they are fast, dude.
Fast.
They're fast. I think Colorado has a lot of speed.
What's crazy is as fast as I thought Colorado was in game 2, I watched Tampa Bay outskate them in game 3.
Mm-hmm. I mean, play with more force. They definitely play with more force there.
They do, and man, let me tell you, I don't know, man. I would have to say these are the 2 fastest teams I have ever seen in my life.
Shaping up to be a classic for sure.
It is, definitely. And I mean, I can tell you right now, I don't care who wins game 4. I still think it's a classic because let's say Avalanche does win game 4. I can tell you right now, I wouldn't put any doubts. Game 5 and game 6, Tampa wins.
Mm-hmm. I'm not counting Tampa out. Absolutely.
I don't count Tampa out.
Not when you don't want 2 straight Stanley Cups. No, you got to beat them.
Yeah, you got to beat them. And you're probably going to have to beat them in 6 or 7 games. It ain't going to be a sweep. Obviously, now it's not. But I mean, come on. Everybody that's telling me, "Oh man, Avalanche is going to run away with this," I'm like, bro. The way I see it, they only held par. That's all I saw. Yes, they won in overtime in game 1, and then they won 7-0 in game 2. But all I saw, they just held par. Let's see what they do in Tampa, and then we'll start making our decision. Because now it's a different game when it's away. It just is. So here we are, 6-2, and now Tampa's back in it.
So Patrick, before we get on out, man, hey, talk about some of this college baseball here.
Yes.
So you mentioned the Arkansas-Auburn game. So we had talked about this a little bit off air. You had Texas A&M and Auburn being in the final series. I had Texas and Arkansas being in the final series. We're gone. We're already out. Like that, Texas A&M and Notre Dame put us out quickly.
Yeah, Notre Dame is freaking good, man.
Well, they're out too now, aren't they? Because A&M beat them today.
They're not out. Are they out?
Yeah, A&M beat them today.
Yeah. A&M beat them last night. Yes, so they're out.
And so the 2 teams that are chilling are Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Ole Miss, they're chilling. They're just waiting. So, Oklahoma knows they're going to play A&M. And so they'll play them again. Oklahoma beat A&M in the first day. So they'll play, and then it's a double elimination tournament up until the final series. So if Oklahoma wins one of the next 2, if it gets to the next 2, then they're going to the final series. Same thing for Ole Miss, and they will play the winner of this game that's playing right now, Arkansas and Auburn. I just Oklahoma and Ole Miss chilling. I just did not see. I mean, I felt they were playing above their heads. But apparently, it looks like they might have just got hot at the right time, and they're running.
And that possibly could be. I mean, that Ole Miss team is good. Was as good as they have been playing, but they are. I can tell you right now, man. Oklahoma is getting like. I'm not even going to call them timely hits. I'm calling it. They are crushing the ball.
Yeah, they're seeing the ball very well.
They are seeing the ball very well. And I don't care if you're throwing it 85 miles an hour or if you're throwing it 95 miles an hour. They don't care right now. They just don't. They're hitting the crap out of the ball. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you play them on a shift or if you don't. They still find the hole. So I I don't know what to say about this Oklahoma team. They have not experienced. They have not played this well all season, and then all of a sudden they get into this, and then it's just like, oh, okay, let's beat the hell out of everybody, and that's what they're doing. Now, don't get me wrong. I said I had Texas A&M and I had Auburn, but you know what I see? You know what I see right now?
What?
All SEC, baby, and everybody's gonna be like, well, there's Oklahoma. They're in the SEC now. We already got them claimed, dog. We already got them claimed. This is an SEC championship.
It's the
They're already claimed.
It's the SEC Invitational now.
Yeah, it's the Invitational. That's all it is. That's all I saw. That's all I see.
Well, Patrick,
welcome to a dominant conference, Charles, because we just win everything. Oh, yeah, crap, what it is.
Hopefully, we could get some of that pixie dust sprinkled on us, and we could get a
piece of that pie. Man. Well, Texas. You're talking about Texas, but I'm gonna say, well, welcome to an all SEC championship. Everything we do.
Well, Patrick, on that note, man, we're going to wrap this up, and that will conclude this latest edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button, and keep the lights coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. And I guess, well, a lot of stuff now is kind of in the off season, so enjoy the baseball that is going to be out there. And yeah, and there'll be some soccer going on as well. And then, of course, the NBA offseason never disappoints either. So we'll see what happens with trades. You got the NBA draft coming up on Thursday as well. So we'll see which players go where and who, and maybe there's some trades made then on draft night. So we'll see. But other than that, everybody take care. Have a good rest of the week, and we will talk to you soon.